Hello again, Year 11s, and welcome to the sixth lesson in the Biomechanics Flipped Classroom unit of work. This lesson will focus on the biomechanical principle known as levers. Really quickly, a lever is defined as a basic machine, and they are found in a lot of different places, including within the body. To the right of the screen, you can see that there are three different levers, and that is one of the things that you need to understand by the end of this lesson. So there are three things for you to understand by the end of this video. The first one is knowledge of the three types of levers. The second thing is having different examples for each of these type of levers, some sporting examples. And the third one is to understand what FLE 1, 2, 3 means and how it can help you to remember what a lever is. So to start off with, we're going to have a look at a video. Here goes.
Let's have a look at the lever. Now there are four main important parts to a lever. First is the lever itself, and that's indicated by the blue strip. Second, we have the fulcrum, or some people call it the pivot point, and that's indicated by green. We also have the load on one side, the yellow square, and the effort is indicated by an arrow. The arrow can go either way, it can either go up or down, it doesn't really matter, just as long as it's affecting on the lever. Now, this is what we call a first class lever. First class lever. And the nickname for this is a seesaw. Imagine back when you were in intermediate and primary school, you and a friend would sit on a seesaw, the middle would be there, and you and your friend would sit either side. As you push down, your friend would raise up, and then to come back down, they would just swap over, and as he pushed down, you would rise up. So this is called the seesaw, and it's described as the fulcrums in the middle and the load and the effort on the other side. So let's move on to the next one. So that's the first class lever. So the second class. So there are three types of levers, first, second and third. So this is the second. We start here with the fulcrum. Then the lever itself. Now in the middle here we have the load, and on the far end we have the effort. And this is a one for lifting heavy weight. It's really good at lifting heavy weight. And we'll have a look at that lower as well. And the nickname for the wheelbarrow here, we have the wheel. We have the lever bar itself. The load goes into the wheelbarrow there, and then we have the handle, and that's the effort. So we have the fulcrum, the load, and then the effort. Now finally the third class lever. And the nickname for this one is called the human body, because it's most commonly found in the human body, and it's just a manipulation again of the four parts. So we have the fulcrum there, the lever bar, the end we have the load, and then in the middle we have the effort. And this one's built for speed. So this is called the human body. And I'll give you an example of this where we can find it in the human body. We have a humerus there, radius, and just on this side there. Here we have our elbow joint, which we know is a hinge joint. So because that's a joint, that's the pivot point, we can call that the fulcrum. Our hand, or whatever we're carrying in our hand, then becomes the load, and our biceps brachii muscle, which attaches to the radius and on it, becomes our effort. When this muscle contracts, lifts the load up. So that's an example of the third class lever. It how it's seen in the human body.
Okay, so that is a quick explanation of the 3 different types of levers. Now we'll have a look at them in some sporting examples. So here in this sporting example of the rowers, we'll just have a look at where exactly the fulcrum, the load and the effort are. And I'll keep them the same colour for you so that you can remember them from before. So if we look at the rower, the fulcrum, the pivot point, is actually this part here where the oar actually connects with the boat. So that's the fulcrum or the pivot point. Now in this instance the load is actually the water. Okay, so the load, as you can see, this oar will be pulling through the water, and then the effort comes through by the rower's hands. Okay, by pulling that oar, that is what will take it through the water, and that is what will create that movement. So this was a first class lever example in sport, and the example is rowing. So that's a first class lever in sport. Let's have a look at a second class lever in sport. Okay, so what we have here, and it's all really clearly identified for you already, is actually a person doing a calf raise. So it's identified for you there that the toes are actually the fulcrum. Okay, so the toes down here where this person is going up onto their toes to complete a calf raise, that is the fulcrum. The load in this example is actually the tibia and fibula bones. Okay, so the weight of them, that is actually the load, and also the force that the body is actually putting on those bones in that is the load. Okay, and last of all, as you can see up here, the effort is actually the gastrocnemius muscle that is contracting. Okay, as that person goes up on their toes and does that calf raise, that is the effort. Okay, so that one is a second class lever, and the example once again was a calf raise, okay, like you do in the gym. So that's first and second class levers. Let's quickly have a look at a third class lever. It's just an example that you've already covered. So here we have Spider-Man, and as you could remember from before, it was the bicep curl. So hopefully you can remember from before that the fulcrum was the elbow joint, the hinge joint. The load in this instance is really clearly the dumbbell that he's got in his hand here. That's what he's trying to lift. And then the contracting muscle, as we know, flexion of the elbow is the bicep muscle. And that was third class lever, and that was a bicep curl. Alright, so hopefully you've got an understanding of the 3 different types of levers now and some sporting examples for each one. The last thing we needed to have a look at was FLE 1, 2, 3. So FLE 1, 2, 3 is the way for you to be able to remember what levers are all about and the order of them. So as long as you can remember that F stands for fulcrum. Okay, F stands for fulcrum. If you can remember that L stands for load. And if you can remember that E stands for effort, then you should have no problem remembering this. And how it is FLE 1, 2, 3, really easy explanation of it is F, when you think F or you think fulcrum, you think 1, okay, and 1 refers to a first class lever, and what it refers to is the fulcrum in a first class lever is in the middle. So the fulcrum's in the middle and the load and effort are on either side. Same thing when you think for the load, so you think load, you think second class lever, and you think the load is in the middle. And third class lever, you think effort, and I'm pretty sure you guessed it, the effort in a third class lever is in the middle. So FLE 1, 2, 3, it refers to which part of the lever is in the middle, the fulcrum, the load, or the effort. That's all for levers for today. I hope you've got an understanding of it. Any questions, please ask. Otherwise, thank you for listening.